And welcome to our Tuesday evening at Penny Dragon Games. Fellowship of the Fallen is usually in this spot, but unfortunately, them scheduling gremlins, I think we need to murder a few of those because it's getting ridiculous now. But no, we miss our comrades. Hopefully we'll see them soon. But tonight, let's see what we can talk about, shall we? With me this evening is Richard. Want to say hello?
Hello.
Okay.
I'm so nervous. I don't know what to say. Yeah. Hi, I'm Richard.
I imprisoned him here. Don't worry. And we also have Carrick, of course.
So I'm like on every stream nearly at this stage.
Yes. So yeah, we just decided to do an impromptu, something that's been in the works for a little while now, is our Penny Thea Thoughts. And first of all, as well, just wanted to do a big shout out to Miss Jawbreaker in the chat there, or Gotisa in the Discord, for the fabulous logo that we now have. Great work. We were working through that, and she did a fabulous job of that. So thank you very much. Now, I suppose I should do a few announcements first, seeing as though that's usually the thing we do at the beginning, isn't it? On Thursday, we have Vibrance back. So last time the party made their way to the greenhouse, where an encounter with some familiar looking creatures blocked the party's way to the supply of LeBlanc's green colour. The session ended mid-battle, and those things packed a fierce punch. I, for one, can't wait for that because the lads are killing it. And Kobu, I'm sorry, I love you. You're just awesome. You're just so good. Then also on Friday, we've got Software Saga back. So that returns on Friday, 7 p.m. BST. With the Carved Witch defeated, the party returned to Templetown, and with a newly resurrected and very quiet Robert in tow. After splitting up, some of the party members had a run-in with Valda's men, who were guarding the closed church, and someone got arrested. Naughty, naughty. Will Valdar return in time to catch the party nosing around his church? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Carrick? Do you want to turn that off?
What does that mean? Oh, shit, I needed the...
Damn it, Carrick.
Damn it, Carrick, you've ruined it. It was perfect.
You ruined everything, Carrick. Always ruining everything.
Actually, I don't think that's me.
Is it you, Richard?
No, I'm wearing headphones, man.
Okay.
It's not me.
It's gone now anyway. We're forgetting about that. Gloss over that. You didn't see it.
It was Christian. Christian's the worst.
Damn you, Christian.
Fuck that Christian guy.
No, don't. He's amazing.
Yeah, no, Christian wouldn't happen without.
I'll do the thank you to Christian as well. Now, since I were talking about him, Christian, ever loved. Thank you very much for running our streams for us here. And then Sunday, we're back with the Violet Madness. Last time, the gang have all been shrunk down and are navigating through the human body. They fought blood cells, horrible bloody things they were, coughs, kidney stones, but they're not in the clear yet. So you'll have to tune in and see what happens there, I suppose. And thankfully, because of Mark, I've got my first inspiration as Damon ready for the game on Sunday. So that's going to be good. So I suppose we should crack on, really, shouldn't we? Again, welcome to the Fellowship of the Fallen. Now, guys, do you want to introduce your characters from the Fellowship, just for anyone that's new to watching? Carrick, you go first.
I'm Crag. I smash things. That's about it. I play Crag, Goliath Barbarian Paladin of the Raven Queen. Yeah, he's big, he's rude, he screams at people, and he kills things. That's genuinely kind of all he does. And he drinks. It's a running theme with my characters, it seems.
I've never seen him drink.
Yeah, drinks, fucks up shit, and generally is just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
That's Carrick. I don't know about his characters, but that's just Carrick.
Hey, every party needs one chaos.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
everyone needs one frozen person. Yes.
I was going to say, yeah. Carrick can't grow a beard, but what about Crag? You know, so.
Yeah, he can't either.
He can't grow a beard, but he can grow like whiskers and stuff as he becomes crap.
For now.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Richard, if you please.
I play a little halfling named Luca. Luca is non-binary, and Luca is just an honest thief, just doing their thing. You know, Luca can cast a few spells, you know, but otherwise, you know, I just don't want a game to have too many friends, because you know friends die and they leave you, or it's terrible. So just don't want to have too many friends.
Speaking of friends, we had our first party death on the last game we played.
I know.
I died.
Everyone cheered. I didn't.
I can't wait to see how, because like what Luca hasn't had a chance to react to the fact that Cran was dead.
Well, Luca didn't see it happen, so Luca was in a freezing fog and couldn't see anything. So yeah.
I think we were all kind of blinded for a lot of that.
So I think they don't know that you died. So you know, like
it's like when you get back, it's like, so guys, the afterlife, kind of shit.
Has Craig's gone down before?
He's never died. So
no, I know, but I mean, party members have gone down, and we've broken them up and stuff like that. So yeah.
But see, that's the thing. That's a visually interesting thing about D&D, isn't it? Is that going down unconscious or dying visually for someone playing, it's the same thing exactly. So it's going to be
to a degree. I mean, there's obvious stats.
Because Revivify is a strange thing, right? We can talk about that because kind of like in D&D, you have your first usable spell you can use to raise people from the dead is a 5th level spell. I think
third.
Third.
Revivify is a 3rd level spell, right?
Yeah.
But it almost works like shock paddles, right? Like people who are dead less than a minute. You know, like you could almost say that they didn't really die. In fact, I wish that would be the case, where you could be like, if within a minute you hit them with this Revivify type thing, that way you can avoid the narrative, because a lot of DMs and a lot of players, you know, they feel like it takes away the risk of dying.
Yeah,
because you know it's fairly inexpensive, and also it's available to 5th level parties. You know, they can just bring back their person if they, you know, I mean, within a minute is easy to do in a fight that, you know, it takes like 2 hours of real game time to do a minute.
6, but maybe a minute max, like real.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I think my opinion on Revivify is it has a very Dragon Ball like effect. Like you kind of know it's there, so you're kind of being like, we'll be fine. Bring us back.
It's true, but I mean that's also the transformation of D&D from parties below 5th level to parties of 5th level and higher. Like the power level of characters jumps dramatically, and also the fact that they can be brought back from the dead if you have a cleric or a paladin. Well, you really have to have a cleric in the party to bring somebody back from the dead as a 5th level party.
You do have to have you do have to have the available component as well, though, of the diamond and stuff, which isn't particularly expensive. But if you've got like a bigger group or a group that's dying constantly, then that can become a massive expense for you. So
and some DMs will be sticklers too on the fact that it has to be a diamond of the right value, right? Whereas in my games, I don't really care, especially at high levels, as long as they have, as long as they've said they've bought diamonds or they have diamond dust or whatever, they can combine, you know. But strictly by the book, I think you need to have a single 300 gold piece diamond or whatever. So
I don't think it has to be single necessarily, but I think it has to be at least adds up to the value of it. Can't be over.
Yeah. So in chat, bring in chat if you want to look it up, because it's true. I don't know exactly.
You can see in chat there. Arctic Trooper says you can't revivify a pile of ash though. #disintegrate.
Well, that's right. So missing body parts don't come back. That's right. Yeah.
And that is why wizards and liches and shit are the best thing for fucking up a party permanently. Just.
See, to grow limbs back though, that's regeneration, which is is it raised dead?
There's higher level spells, higher level resurrection spells will bring back missing body parts.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
I think that's 7th level or something.
It would have been interesting to see. Like, I was partially hoping. Now, it didn't happen, but it would have been really interesting because Forge, the one-shot character I played there last session, died, and we raised then him. But he was originally a dwarf that was put into the body of a warforged. Like his soul was transferred to keep him alive. So I was thinking, it's like, it'd be really funny if like they're like, oh, we saved him, and there's just a naked dwarf with the suit of armor. He's like, hey, what the fuck?
And now he's just the soul of a dwarf in a trash can of a body.
Now he's just the dwarf soul is just straight up in a fucked up like manga.
It was like
just for our viewers and stuff that may not be familiar with the Fellowship of the Fallen, just want to show you this fantastic picture that was done by our very own Richard there.
That's old. That's an old piece.
It is an
Yeah.
old piece, but I like this one particularly because it shows all of us together in such a way that it was us fresh. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's you know, the party before shit happened. It's literally the first party photo. Like,
I mean,
yeah, because Luca has changed a lot since the beginning for sure, and so I think so has Crag.
Craig's a lot bigger, like bulkier. He's not as like.
Yeah, no, but I don't just mean physically, right? I mean like I feel
personality
like
was, yeah.
Like when you started, I felt like Crag was kind of like a Grog Strongjaw character, just kind of a
He was there.
fairly
just to be
plain
strong guy.
vanilla barbarian. What's the race? Goliath barbarian.
Goliath barbarian.
I don't want to minimize when I say plain vanilla Goliath barbarian.
Oh no, he was like he was like.
You
to be
want to
fair,
optimize your character a little bit, and that's what you make, right? Is sort of the strong, dumb. Yeah.
This game did start out as a one shot, so I kind of did just make good barbarian. So for level like what we were level 1, so I made good level 1 barbarian. The best level 1 barbarian is a Goliath because you have the extra strength and because you don't have anything else. But yeah, so Crag was actually started out. I don't know if anyone in chat's played it or on here's played it. As the Borderlands games, I was originally trying to take him in the direction of Krieg, the Berserker Psycho kind of playable character from that. But then I was like, nah, I don't have the energy to play like a split personality, like really angry, like can't speak barely in like actual sentences character. It took too much out of me to even try.
I feel as well, because obviously they're not here to unfortunately be able to speak for themselves. Of course, from the picture you can see Aldwin, our ever faithful, well, maybe not so faithful. We'll
I
have
was
to wait
going to
and see
say, are you
about
kidding?
that.
He's cheating.
I was
on
trying
us
to be
with
nice,
30.
okay?
That's what Tom says he's in work. He's 100% just playing Aldwin with another fucking group.
Yeah.
He's not here to defend himself. Let's shit all over Aldwin for a bit.
So, okay, let me say this: our ever vigilant with his 300 bloody foot of vision, our Twilight cleric. He's just
Twilight clerics are bananas.
an absolute bananas build, but amazing.
And
of
people
course-
say Twilight clerics are overpowered, but I mean, you know what? Every subtype of cleric has like a superpower that they have, right? So
Like people are like grave clerics is the worst one. Grave clerics can give you 2 free crits a day at level 10. Like that, when you have a paladin in your fucking party, that gets nasty. Like Dave, I think he's in chat. We ran a one shot there for LoreCon where I played a grave cleric and he plays the grave cleric the Sunday game as well, Shadar. But me and Steven, who plays Tyrion also on the Sunday game, like we were just fucking up everything because I was like path to the grave and he was like crit. And I was like path to the grave, he was like crit. Like paladins fuck shit up when you combine it like
if they roll well. And
Yeah,
then
I
of
was
So
gonna
course,
say,
you have a clockwork amulet. You have a guaranteed hit on nearly everything, and you never use it.
like you don't have to go much further past your Twilight cleric to look at just any paladin. Paladins are just massive damage dealers, right? And they can heal, and they have high armor class, and they're
Vengeance paladins can hit
saving throw
themselves.
bonuses. Oh my god, yeah, they're just really great to have around. So
and then of course our not fallen hero, but he might as well be because we haven't seen him unfortunately for a little while, is Emil as Elion, our wizard. Is he Chronergy?
Chronergy. No, I think he's Graviturgy. Oh wait, no.
He's a bit of everything.
Yeah, he uses Dunamancy, which is
so he's not here to defend himself either. But I think his character was pretty much sort of not a copy. Well, very, very, very influenced by what's his name from Critical Role? Caleb from Critical Role. Yeah. So like a real, right down to the scars on his arms and all that stuff. So I think he wanted to play a character who was a reformed, war wizard for some terrible organization.
See, I saw him more as an Essek type of character.
Yeah, or
he's
maybe
up to
a cross
some
between
shit.
those two, right? Like
He's up to something.
Like imagine if Essek used to be a Volstrucker,
Yeah.
Well, we know he likes to kill dwarves anyway. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Dwarf racist.
Hey, listen. You
Alien
can't
is
say
racist.
nothing about that. Crag is very much a racist with the drow. He doesn't like them at all.
That was a one-time thing where Crowd was like, "Hey, like back in my clan, we're like drought. They're generally bad because they live underground, right? And then that was it.
I remember in that adventure too, my character was like, "Don't be racist against drow." And as soon as we saw the drow,
you were like, "He's bad."
I instantly attacked her because I had a secret mission that she had to be killed. So I'm not killing her because I'm racist. My mission is to kill her immediately.
Just to clear up everything for anyone new watching as well, it isn't racism in any way whatsoever. It's literally a fact that Craig's character had some backstory with some drow, and Elian just got very unlucky with killing dwarves.
Oh my god, I think he killed several dwarf NPCs.
He killed several, and then one of them was Gundren, right? Yeah.
He downed you as well at one point.
But one of them was you. Yeah.
And indirectly killed me as well by not being able to stealth at all.
Yeah, and let's be real here. Like, Ilian owes us 1,000 gold at the point.
Yeah,
we're gonna come back from Cryobane. It's like we'll be counting our share, and we'll be like 1,000. And Ilian is like, you don't get this.
He's not there.
I would say we should just rob him while he's not there, but the point is he hasn't earned any money because he hasn't been there.
Yeah. No. Elian officially left the party, so a couple of months ago. So.
Left.
Well, yeah.
He'll be back soon, hopefully. We do.
I presume he's still living in the mansion. He's like the roommate who just kind of
chilling
shows
out.
up. Yeah. It's just we come back all bloody with a dragon head, and he's like, "Hey man, so."
He's essentially the Big Lebowski.
Yeah. He says, "Make sure you clean up after yourselves." Yeah.
Don't blood on the Berber.
I mean, yeah, exactly. You see, Blue Nessie says fireballs, but it's not fireballs. It's the cantrip. It's the ice knife.
Yeah,
it was always ice knife he was using.
It's never not been ice knife
because he was always hitting the NPCs that were just out of sight. Using the map feature that like hides stuff that you can't see. Yeah. And remember, I think I yelled, "Use ice knife!" No, don't use ice knife.
Yeah. Why would you do that? You told me to. No, I didn't.
Yeah, I missed that stream. That was like the first game I'd missed. I think I was like, I was watching it on the bus from work as it happened. I was like, "No, you fucking idiot!"
He was like, "Can I see into the room?" Yeah, you can see that back wall. That's good enough. But what about all the dwarves that are sitting in there?
But all the stream, I think the stream could see the full fucking room. So I was sitting there like, "Oh no."
So I guess we should also talk about our last issue of Fellowship of the Fallen Man.
Oh yeah.
The defeat of Cryovane, which again, by the brilliant Richard here, has been shown in all its absolute glory. Yeah. I'm biased. I don't care. I'll tell you right now, that is a fabulous picture, an absolutely phenomenal picture, and that's definitely going up on my wall.
Yeah. So it's not quite a true image because I put all the characters that were there into the image, although most of them weren't. I think Crag was pretty much dead on the ground below.
I was dead. I was absolutely.
But I put myself in that image on the bottom right. I'm kind of like my character Lucas. They're hiding their face because they can't see. They've been blinded by the dragon. And on the other side is Aldwin, who
was up in the air.
In the game was actually hovering like Magneto. Like so. There goes my camera. Hang on. The camera was like F that.
But I think it was was it Liam that was mentioned it in the art channel, like how you framed Magnar and stuff like that. Like you did a phenomenal job on it. You really did do a phenomenal job.
Yeah, because my original art, I drew the dragon, like I just sketched it on a piece of paper, and then I drew the dwarf on an index card, and I just kind of slid it around on the page until But I always do my drawings like in layers, so the dwarf was actually didn't have to be there, but I felt that was a good place for him. So.
It works.
And then I made the tail curl around. I thought that was pretty cool. So
Well, to be fair, it does make sense because I think just before Magnar did that, Cryovane and tail slapped Crag into the ground and then frost breathed him to kill him. So, and I know the tail slap killed me, and the frost breath put me down to no death saves. I was like, ah.
I love how with the owlbear cloak as well, you made it look almost as if it was wings, like just to add that flair to it. Like it was. Now I've been very lucky to say that I've had 2 dragon kills, but like to see it in art form like that, exactly how I pictured it in my head, just was brilliant. So I'm very happy about that.
That's probably my favorite kill of the campaign. That and maybe I'm a bit biased because I did the Crag jumping on the thing and slitting its throat for the fucking giant electricity boar.
That was
because I think I threw my voice out doing that because I did a proper like rage scream, like full on for that, and yeah.
Didn't Magnar have Magnar had a few good kills?
Magnar's had a lot of great kills.
I killed the green dragon as well.
You blew its head up.
Well, you never stopped talking about it. Jesus.
I mean, I've still got the sword from it, but no, that was the one under the croft, wasn't it? But I still say to this day the best moment was the Banshee, just because I rolled so poorly for like 3 full sessions, and then that one session just came together.
Well, you had a nat 20 on your persuasion, I think, and then she was like, "Yep, you win."
it was nat 20 plus I'd used the emissary of peace.
Plus your bonus.
Plus I had my bonus. Plus I think, if I remember rightly, Tom as Aldwin had blessed me as well. And I think it all ended up as like a 32 or some stupid number like that.
I wouldn't mind, but like if that Banshee had it turned around, we would have been fucked. Because like if I remember, Crag was sneaking up with the greatswords, like.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
So speaking of nat 20s, so in Wave Echo Mine, when we were going through one of the treasure rooms, Luca rolled a nat 20 for searching for stuff, and so Juan was kind of like, "Oh, you find." I think he didn't really have, it's at those times when you roll a nat 20, but there's not really anything to find, And so he was just kind of like, "Oh, whatever. You find some books, And so that's when I decided that the book that I found was going to be the book for, and that's at that moment I decided that's Luca's going to become a wizard. And it's going to have this book. And I was like, are there any subclasses of wizard that could be cool? And oh my god, Order of Scribes is perfect for that. So
yeah, Scribe is pretty good. I think that Wave Echo gave a good few moments. I think Wave Echo was the first time I started considering Paladin for Crag, because when we crafted the Raven Hilted sword, I was like, this could go somewhere. And
the character development from everyone, like we've just for anyone that doesn't know, we've hit just over our year mark as playing this game on stream, and the development just in that year, considering as well the times we've had off from one shots and schedules and all that kind of stuff like that, it's been incredible. Like Luke is this cheeky little scamp that's just like, "Oh, I can't do magic," pew pew pew, like shooting off mad stuff as well. And
yeah, well, so that came. I don't know how that came about, because did we start at first level or second level? I can't remember. First level. So I was just a first level halfling rogue, right? Your basic pure vanilla rogue, the same way, Crag is your pure vanilla barbarian. Your most
optimal. Yeah.
Optimal rogue would be, and I made it a
Lightfoot halfling.
It was even a Lightfoot halfling, which doesn't have
the
night vision, but has the re-rolling of nat ones. And my god, I've re-rolled some nat ones in this game. Let me tell you, Juan. Because every time I roll that one, Juan, you see Juan's face, he's like, "Yes, I have you now," and I'm like, "I roll that." So just
And I feel like Craig has developed, but definitely I'd say within the last like say 4 or 5 sessions since we hit the woodyard or whatever it was, and essentially Magna told you off, like. I as a player have noticed a lot of change in Craig, and it's like, wow, okay, he's learning. This is good.
Well, it's exactly because you said you pulled this thing, you need to defend people. That's exactly why he's after. Like, I was considering the Vengeance Paladin multi-class just because barbarian that can smite, and he's an angry guy. So, but then once you said the defending people, I was like, the paladin makes perfect. Like, it's suboptimal. It's so not good for what the class he is. A zealot barbarian. If a pure zealot barbarian is one of the best class combos in the game, because you're unkillable after a certain point unless you're put to sleep. But I was like, nah, fuck it. I'm gonna go with the paladin for fun. Just because it's interesting. It'll cause a lot of RP moments, I'd say. With Crag being like Crag will walk into a temple and people are praying. And he's like, "Look at these fucking nerds." He's like the jock paladin. He's like the one guy who never paid attention in religion.
And then Magnar's like, "You realize you should be doing that too, right?"
No, bitch.
But yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing where it all goes and stuff. No, I just want to. We've seen obviously the Fellowship of the Fallen. We've seen the Cryovone fight there, and I will say it to my dying day. I think Richard is no doubt one of the best artists we've got in the group. I absolutely love his work. He's done some private work for me as well because I just love his artwork that much. Yeah. And just to like, as a quick shot there of just the group shots Richard's done and stuff, like the level of detail is incredible. It really is. Like Lambert and Wolf, yeah, another great set of characters.
Oh yeah, no, I can't. My next time we do a one shot, I mean, Forge is still slotted in for the next one, but after that, I might bring back my original Lambert and Wolf one shot character, the Gloomstalker Drow, because that was fun.
Oh yeah.
Because him and your character had such a weird back and forth. He's like coward, and he's like, I'm killing everything. He's like, I am literally doing all the work, and you're calling me a coward? What the fuck, man?
Yeah. That was a fun character for me too. The aging retired adventurer.
Yeah.
You're basically your Bertram Bell.
It was your Timothy Dalton character, wasn't it? Essentially.
Yeah, he was totally based on the Timothy Dalton character from Penny Dreadful, which is just such a great series, which is not available in Canada right now. So,
that sucks.
Crave. They're pushing the other Penny Dreadful series, the LA one, which is it's fine, but it's not nearly as good.
Yeah, you need the dark noir for that.
Yeah, but, the Dalton noir.
Yeah. Just to like change it, I wanted to put this one up because this is especially just the level of detail is incredible, Richard. So I'd love for you to explain like your process of thinking, okay, this is how I'm gonna. I know you said like you layer it, but like, what's your process for this?
I start with hang on, I don't know where my sketch pad is, but I started with like just a really rough sketch of the king and queen on their thrones. You know, and I kind of like, I just kind of really, really rough it in, the look that they're giving each other. And then after that, I kind of like just blob in the other characters. Yeah, I wish I had, but because you're working digitally, you can, and I just take a picture of it with my phone. And I go open it up in Photoshop and I have a...
you just trace over kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just like rotoscoping. It doesn't matter how good the quality is because you're just tracing over your own thing, right? And I have a drawing tablet. Which is
it's even easier again.
It's just
not easier.
It's like $400. It's basically like I got it off Amazon. It's you use a pen. It's not a touch screen. It's a touch screen only with the pen, which to me is important because I don't want my hands to set it off. I just want the pen to work. And it's pressure sensitive, and you can use it to draw, and it supports. And it's also a really nice monitor. And then I draw in, and so I do the back layer. I rough it in, and then I do each character on its own layer. And then you can resize them and sort of put them where you want. Like Nightshade, the one that's stealing.
Oh shit! I've never actually seen Nightshade in that.
Yeah, Nightshade's in the back stealing. Like this is Linda's character. Like she's when I made the dungeon, actually, I kind of set it up based on Sly Flourish's lazy DM thing for 14th level party. The traps should be this hard to spot, and they should do this much damage. And so I just kind of did that, and then Nightshade's passive perception was higher than all of the trap DCs. So I was just like, oh, that's and some DMs will be pissed off about that. I'm like, no, that's great. I don't have to worry about any of that shit. So Nightshade spotted all the traps. She forgot to tell people about some of them because she was so anxious to steal things, and so the scarab traps went off because she just wanted to steal like the golden sun that was above the scarab. And then she's the one that activated the ghost of the queen because she wanted to steal like the golden canopic jar that had her heart. Anyway, it's pretty great. So she's really.
I think it's really cool. I like how you based the like the king kind of like the Anubis style, like jackal. Is he a jackal?
I mean, I totally, yeah. He's totally a jackal. Yeah. I totally ripped off ancient Egyptian mythology, and as I was running this adventure, Moon Knight came out, and it's all Egyptian gods. I didn't even know Moon Knight was based on Egyptian mythology. I was like, oh god, people are going to think I'm ripping off. But of course, I'm not ripping off Moon Knight. I'm ripping off Stargate. So
which Moon Knight ripped off as well, so it's fine.
I mean, I'd argue that Moon Knight came out first, but yeah.
Comic-wise,
years ago. But every mythology is kind of similar, right? And every religion that exists today is based on previous religions. Like even the Catholics and the Christians if you're a theologian, you know this. You know that all of the high holy days and the rituals and stuff are based on things that came before.
Well, look at the Romans.
And so Egyptians have the
Really
sun
small.
god, and they have a moon god, and they have a death god, and so do the Greeks that came after, and then the Norse gods as well were based on the Greek gods.
For sure, my daughter's named after a Greek god or goddess, Persephone.
Oh yeah,
cool. And so Humblewood has this very Greek god mythology, right? With Ardea, the sun god or goddess, and Titan, the god of death, and they have an eternal dance, the sun and the moon. And I mean, there's a Star Trek episode about Mesaka is coming, the moon chasing the sun. So these are all old myths, and so it just kind of gets jumped up in my head.
Comes up again, like that's basically Ragnarok.
Yeah.
The two wolves chasing each other, and when they finally catch up, dead.
But I'm also interested in the notion that a lot of gods and demons get bad press in D&D. When what if nice people worship them? Would they still be bad? So that's why I decided that the death god that looks like the Egyptian god of death actually is Yenogu, the chaotic evil god of rage and whatever. And so
that's the idea, isn't it? Is that D&D opens up that whole thing of you can use the wrong thing in the right way, right? So like a barbarian raging could be used in a great way if it's defending a town from a bloody dragon. Do you know what I mean? That kind of idea. And I like that. It's very much like a great idea that way. And it's the same as you were saying about gods that are inherently bad, but that doesn't mean that their followers are. Their followers could be using bad resources, but in a good way.
Especially in D&D, where they literally get power from worshippers. If all of the worshippers are good, or like farmers, you're not going to be a war god anymore. If all your worshippers are farmers, you will become a farmer's god.
Well, I've always been of the opinion, like with D&D, alignment alignment exists, and look, it's important in some degrees. Obviously, like it has effects, but at the same time, alignment should always be fluid. It should be subject to change, and it should be subject to like the situation. Like some lawful evil characters probably aren't that bad of people. They're doing it for completely selfish reasons, but they're like doing good.
I mean, there's the whole thing of like the different like chaotic neutral and true neutral and all that kind of stuff. Like you said, that is quite fluid in the sense of for the majority of people, like say like a rogue generally won't have a god sort of thing, but as like a cleric, if you're a devout cleric and then you suddenly start murdering people just for the hell of it, that's going to have consequences, right? That's going to have to change.
Yeah, and that just becomes inconsistency in the playing of your character. Like, why is your character suddenly not the same way? Well,
that's why the Oathbreaker exists. Like, Oathbreaker is such a good class for that exact reason, because it's a thing any paladin can become one. And I'm a firm believer, like, with paladin subclasses, I feel like they should be interchangeable in the fact that, like, I have abandoned this oath. I've broken this oath. But what if I make a new one? I've always felt like paladins should be able to swap not maybe swap the subclass willy-nilly, because obviously that gets busted, but like at certain story points, like it makes sense that like Arthur in your game, he's done it.
Well, that's right. Arthur's the paladin of the god Henwin. Henwin died, and Arthur had a crisis of faith and said, "Fuck it, I'm a fighter now," And then after the adventure with Ardea Ra, became a paladin of Ardea Ra. So.
But my argument to that would be, was he really truly a paladin, but he just needed new guidance? He was just waiting for new guidance in that sense.
Yeah, so I spoke to Ben about that, and I basically said, "So you just want to become an Oathbreaker paladin, or change, or what would you like to do?" And he said, "No, I think I want Sir Arthur to just become a fighter." And so for one level, he was like a battle master, some kind of fighter. Because he was doing all kinds of cool fighter stuff.
That makes sense though. Like a paladin, if you strip their power completely, a paladin is at its core like a low level.
Yeah. But I mean, as a DM, you know what? We're trying to tell the story, right? So anything that serves the story, as long. I mean, and you know what? Some people you're gonna call it power gaming or whatever. That's fine. As long as you're serving the story, I think that's just fine. So.
Like Warlock as well. Warlock, you can do that shit as well. Like you can have a Warlock completely lose their ability, but if they're a Hexblade, makes sense as the base.
I think warlocks are a weird thing in D&D because the way I feel, in fact, I ran a Humblewood game. This is all just me talking about my old D&D games. I ran a Humblewood game where my friend Doug, who played a hedge warlock, who was a warlock of a fiery demon creature, and so he chose like he was a warlock of the fiendish pact, and he's throwing fire all over the place and doing all this, and he has devil's sight, and he's really cool. And then I set up a storyline where he had to his sister also became a warlock, his character's sister, and then they had to fight each other. And then after the game, he contacted me privately, and he's like, I'd really be happier if my character didn't have to fight his sister and do stuff like that. He says, I just want to be friends. I just want to have a chill, fun, patron and just be friends with him. And so I changed it because
patrons. I've always believed patrons should be interchangeable, because if you
and even as we were
you can make a new one.
And even as we were playing, I thought, I don't think we should be fighting the sister. So it didn't come to them having to kill each other in the session. But it wasn't a streaming game, so it was a little safer then.
Yeah.
But then that's the whole thing, isn't it? That it's not necessarily that you can't change it. It's just the way you do it. Like. Now, I'm going to put this out there as spoilers for Campaign 2 of a very popular Twitch stream that I'm sure everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Click off for the next 5 minutes if you don't.
Yeah, if you're not seeing Campaign 2 of that company, that one, then yeah. But the way he did it and the way Matt did it with him was perfect, because it was, okay, I don't want to be connected to this god anymore, or this, higher being. How can we do it that I still keep this role, but I'm just with someone else? And the way they did it was perfect. It was really
and I feel like the player just didn't want to follow that storyline. Like I think it's because the player.
Yeah.
Let's not mention who all the people are, but I feel like the player didn't want to be the focus of the story and be and you could tell he never wanted to go in that direction, right?
Yeah.
And so I think he had to sit down with a DM and he said, "Listen, how do we fix this?" And so they did. And so there you go.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the biggest thing I found from playing D&D is communicate, especially with your DM. If you're not happy about something, if something's not working, explain to them why you think it's not. Any DM worth their salt will sit there and try and help you sort it out.
But especially look, even in pre-written, it's easy. It's obviously easier in a homebrew storyline to make changes and adjust, because there's no preset ending there. You could there is, but there isn't really. Things can go completely off the rails. Obviously, in certain pre-written things, there's limits to what you can do there, to twist it without completely changing the story. But any DM that genuinely knows the game and wants to help, and they'll be able to find a way. No one wants the worst thing in D&D you can do is sit and play a character you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I could argue with you and say that there's no predetermined ending to a campaign. Even if you're playing in a pre-published campaign where there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's on the rails or whatever.
Oh yeah, you can derail.
I mean, remember Dimension 20 when they explained how they were doing their stuff? He was like, there's going to be a fight every 2 episodes, and you're going to be in that fight, and they have a big set to build and all minis to paint, and so there's going to be a fight, and every time the DM was able to make the fight about what was happening. So it's just you can set up mechanical fights that have different reasons and different you can reskin NPCs, whatever.
You can always change the story, but
that's the thing. You can also change, and you can also just modify the story for sure.
As long as you're not 20 sessions in and you want to change your whole backstory that actually all your family is still alive, that kind of shit won't really work. Or even then, there's ways to make it work. But that's kind of when you draw the line and say, okay, well maybe you just need to change your character completely.
Well, some players
take people in and out.
And some players in games, that's what they want to do, is they just want to play a different character, and so they do.
You want to go to your games.
But I love that, because you never know which one of him you're going to get. Every session it could be a different person, and it's I like that though. It's kind of fun. I can imagine it's a pain in the hole for you sometimes, but
look, they came to a point. There was a point there recently, up until very recently, where I'll be honest, I was getting sick of Craig. I was sick of playing the dumbass in the party. I was like, oh, Craig off, trying to be way stupider for the next 2 hours or 2-3 hours, and just to hit things. But there's ways around that. Any good DM worth their salts will help you either they'll allow you to swap out to a new character and work that into the story, or they'll help you fix your character.
The other thing is realizing that it's partly on you as well.
Obviously,
you were playing your character as a 6-in character for a long time,
But
where
he's
he
an
isn't. Exactly, and that too makes a lot of difference. Like,
Yeah, I realized there. I was like, wait, Crag he's uneducated. He's not stupid.
that's the difference between being able to tell the time and not. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So it can make a massive difference.
Yeah. So speaking of a character, so I like playing the same character for as long as possible. Like I want to explore all the, I want to bring that character to a satisfying conclusion. So, but I've been playing D&D for many years, and I'm also aware that many players would like to play lots of different characters. So that's a thing too.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a big fan of like making characters. Some people just love making characters, right? Like I remember when D&D Beyond came out, right? They had the thing where you could make characters. Holy shit! And that was a big selling point. If you pay for an account, you can make as many characters as you want. And oh my god, people were making characters. So whereas I'm kind of like, okay, how can we just reskin something so I don't have to remake a character?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, I'm also like I've done this. I almost did it if Crag, like if Elian wasn't a wizard, I would have brought my wizard from my first game. Just completely brought him back because certain times you don't get to finish. Like that's a big thing in D&D. Like even with this online, people don't get to finish campaigns. Like it doesn't happen very often. Like groups fall apart for scheduling. That's the thing about D&D. Like it's an amazing hobby. It's a fucking nightmare on the schedule.
Let's do a poll right now. Like of the three of us, how many campaigns have you done from beginning to end? And not necessarily level 20, but like some campaigns go to level 12 or level 10 or like how many years have you played a character?
Longest I've played a character is 2 years.
That's good.
So my home game with Roper, who played last week in our one shot, he's our DM. And we started the March before lockdown. We literally started like a few weeks before lockdown first kicked off. So yeah, two years. We've just come over our 2-year point, I think it was. That's cool. The longest I've been playing as a character for. And I think we're Blue Nessie and chat can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're like 13, level 13, 14. We started off at 1. And in chat, speak out too and tell us how long you've played. Because I mean, I feel like it's the norm to play long campaigns, but I also understand that it's not everybody's experience, right? Like finding a group that you're good with and you could just play with and not have.
That's what I love about the Penny Dreadful community, though. Like the fact that we have streams, I think makes it easier to schedule because they now obviously look, shit comes up, but I think a lot of the fact we stream and we have people who watch, we're kind of like, oh yeah, like we'll make the time. We're not going to be like, oh well, look, I'm going out for a few drinks that night instead. So sorry, no. A lot of us, like at least for me, I will plan around the 2 streams I'm on. Yeah.
So I can tell you that I've only ever run a character from level 1 to 20 one time before, and that was with my group that I used to play with. The DM, my friend Tom, he passed away, but this was my character. So he ran a historical campaign set in Jacobite France. Right. 17, like this is around the time of the Spanish Armada, really interesting times in Europe. And so basically he kind of made it a world where the king wanted to make monsters and fantasy races legal, and then his brother, who became the king in the real life French king, outlawed all the other races, and that's the world we ended up with. And so we fought on the side of the king who wanted monstrous races and elves and dwarves to survive. And my character was she was the sister of the first character that I ran. So I ran a character who was my ancestor. I looked it up. Because my family come from France. They're the Dufaults from France. And so I kind of said, well, where are my friends? I did a quick genealogical search, found the Dufaults in Normandy, and I found which was very likely, people who were my ancestors. And so I made a character called Auguste Dufault. And then he was a bard. And it was 2nd edition, and he was useless. He was so useless. After a few levels, I got rid of him and brought in his sister, Ophélie. And the wizard went from level 1 to 20. She ended up not taking a husband and became a lich. She became a lich, living in a cave somewhere on the Mediterranean. And so she's still alive today. Somewhere, just like sort of like a old grandmother. But not an evil lich, just a lich. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And didn't we? I believe we saw August recently. Did we not? Was that the same one or the Ranger? I
gave him the same name because that's my grandfather's name.
Okay.
So Auguste Dufault is my grandfather who passed away. So it's not the same guy, no.
Oh, okay. But,
No, this is my. So he was a bard, and he was in the adventurer. He was imprisoned in the Bastille, by the French king. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to stop playing him. And the game master was like, okay, because we needed a wizard in the party, and I thought a bard would be enough, and it really wasn't.
I mean,
Second edition bards were not enough.
Always.
Second edition bards didn't have enough magic, so.
So it was the second edition you were playing.
Yeah, I feel like third and fourth and fifth edition bards have enough magic to be the spellcaster if you choose your spells well. Like
yeah.
if you need a healer, or if you need a buffer, or whatever, they can play some kind of a. I don't know. Maybe nothing is as good as a wizard, but.
Yeah.
A wizard's the best
through...
utility class of all. Like, there's nothing a wizard can't do realistically.
I don't know. I'd say artificers are pushing in there for sure.
No, the artificers are making definite inroads, but like it's more so like personally, I feel like a wizard's a toolbox. Like a wizard with enough spells and given enough prep time will fucking like. It's like you're that guy. It's
a wizard.
Access wizards are tools.
Yeah, I was about to say a wizard could also be a toolbox, but without the box.
Yeah. Just blow up the fucking. That's actually one thing.
You blow up enough stuff. Listen, let's not go over that. You blow up enough stuff. So go to chat there. Blue Nessie says my character has died 4 times in his life. Only half were my fault. Now he's one of the players in my home game. I'd say they were all his fault, but there we go. Arctic Trooper says 2 years now with my home game.
That's 20 plays with Dave, I think.
Yeah. Rugby Saturn, I've only had 1 game finished completely. Blue Nessie again saying first game D&D was 2 years ago with us. Dave says 5 years, 2E campaign I ran into its conclusion. Players were level 13. So that's the thing is you don't necessarily have to get to max level to finish a campaign either. And let's have a look what other ones we got here.
I'd argue once the story arc is finished, it should be finished. Like you shouldn't drag it on.
You can if you want. It depends how people want to.
So I ran this one in my Humblewood campaign for my friends, and we ran it all the way from 1 to 10. It's a 10 up first to 10th level game, and it's published by Harper's Tale, published by Saturday Morning Scenarios, and it's not a Humblewood game, but I just adapted it, and it was really great. And one of the players, in fact, my friend Doug, he said this is great. When we got to the end, he said never played a game where the characters had a beginning, a middle, and then basically at 10th level, they won and they got to retire and all that. And all the stuff that's happening in the Humblewood game now goes back to that, because that game was set 300 years in the past. So yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, you don't need to finish it. Like, obviously, you can keep going to level 20, but like, I mean, like, the main adventure doesn't have to be a 1 to 20. You can get the main adventure done in like 10 levels, and then maybe every now and again as a special. Like, if you have other games going on, as a throwback, go back. Just go back and be like, oh yeah, this is what they're up to now.
And you can argue that the sweet spot for 5th edition too is like, from like 3 to 12 or 3 to 13. Beyond that, it starts becoming ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like my Humblewood game is just becoming ridiculous. Yeah. So yeah.
But then there's that aspect of some of the things you get at level 20 you aspire to hit, right? Because like I know personally, like in my home game I have the Artificer, the Battlesmith Artificer. In case you hadn't noticed from the streams, that seems to be something I love doing. But the level 20 thing for an Artificer is just phenomenal. And like,
what is it again?
I can't wait to get to it. It's called Soul of Artifice. So essentially, you can do up to 6 attunements or 6 infusions. And if you get hit 0 hit points, you can end an infusion and come back to 1. And you can do that for as many infusions as you have. So essentially, it takes 6 times to kill an Artificer, like outright, kind of that way.
A lot of classes have stuff like I know, like barbarians have the thing where when they get brought down to low hit points,
it's like the Rage
back
Beyond
up to 1.
Yeah, Rage Beyond Death, is it?
Yeah, Rage Beyond
Death. That's specifically the fucking Zealot Barbarian. Rage Beyond Death means they can't die until their rage ends. Now, I've always felt like if your body takes a certain amount of damage, if I was a DM, I'd roll, okay, yeah, you're still alive, but you can't keep fighting, and therefore your rage is about to end.
No, I think because Michaela's character in my game, she's like a 15th level barbarian.
They do have something else. They have something as well. Preternatural rage, which means your rage never ends.
Well, no, yeah, but also
No, but
she
there's
has the
something-
one where if you are brought down to 0 hit points, you make a con save DC 10, and
Yeah.
you're back up to 1 hit
It's an-
point, and then
Oh,
if you get
that's-
brought back to 0
Indom-
again, con save DC 15, 20,
Is that
25,
indomitable something? I think
Indomitable
it's
Spirit?
something like that.
Dominable
called.
Rage.
Like that, yeah.
Well, I'll keep talking.
Another
I'll look
thing.
it up.
Because I
That's
know
another-
that's what one of, again, another character from another particularly fantastic stream on Twitch. One of the characters from campaign 1 used it against in a fight against an orc, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, okay. It's I can't remember what it's called. All barbarians get.
It's called something like
Yeah.
Indomitable Might or something like that. Basically, they can come back to 1 HP.
Is it Relentless Rage? Relentless
Yeah.
Rage. If you drop to
It's-
0 hit points, you make a DC 10 con save.
There you go.
Back up to 1. If you go drop again, DC increases by 5 each time. You can go for quite a bit, unless you're getting hit by multiple attacks. You can go for a while before you go down. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the one thing about that I find about zealots, like, because like, your rage beyond death happens because when you fail that, you rage beyond death. You're just like, oh yeah, fuck you, I'm not dying. And then like you have the preternatural rage, I think, I can't remember, I don't know how it's pronounced, but where your rage as a barbarian, you choose when it ends. Like you can enter a rage and stay in a rage for whenever, like, which is a big thing with
It's like
barbarians.
the whole,
Usually it's
I'm
only
always
one
raging.
round. Exactly. So like I think that was originally made to function as like you get the advantage on strength and save, so you could rage outside of combat and just stay pissed for the entire dungeon to get the advantage and shit. But with a Zealot Barbarian, you could literally just sit at 0 hit points for realistically forever with the way that's worded until you sleep.
Sure.
So like,
you
could die you could die at the start of a dungeon. You're like, I'm angry, I'm gonna keep going, and then let me go. But the thing is as well,
Well, yeah, then you start taking exhaustion, and then that eventually kills you outright anyway. So.
Yeah.
That's
No,
like
but
it's like the guy with the knife in his heart. Don't pull out the knife.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
You
as
see
well,
the film Crank, where he just
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
die.
The thing is with that as well, though, zealots. This is why zealots are fucked. Like killing a zealot is actually probably one of the hardest things you can do with a high level zealot, because they also don't need material components to be brought back from the dead. Which means if you have the spell slot, boom, you're up.
As Blue Nessie says in chat there, don't use con as a dump stat. Never.
No, never use con as a dump stat.
Dump stat.
That can outright kill a wizard. You can outright die as a wizard at first level before the game even starts if you dump your con.
And that's just
Like,
that's
it can
just
happen.
that's just to a common of hitting you.
Yeah, like you can have a 1 hit point wizard with a con dump stat. Like if you do that, you're genuinely just you don't know how to play this. Like I'm sorry, there's levels of D&D. Like you can do it as a joke character maybe, but never do it on a serious game. You'll die.
It could also be that you haven't had the right advice and
Yeah,
not
true.
known where to look and stuff. There is reasons for missing things, especially as a
Yeah.
brand new player. But
Yeah.
that's why you come into
Yeah.
places like our Discord.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
there's plenty of people that are willing to talk to you, to
We'll
teach
tell
you.
you. We'll tell you how to play your character.
I was
Well,
basically
no, not how to play your character, but how to play a character.
yeah.
You know?
Like I'd played one game before I joined here, but it was very much a anything goes, like fuck the rules kind of game, which was fun for a while, but after what like that actually gets messy. You know,
Yeah.
after where you're like, oh well, last week you ruled this, and you're like, oh yeah, well now I'm saying be this because I said so, and it's like it was that kind of game, and like it went for like a year and a half, nearly 2 years. And I was playing a wizard in that. And the DM was just like, oh, by the way, this subclass suits you better. You're going to swap to that. And I'm like, what the fuck? He was
Yeah.
right. Now, it was when Matt came out with his Dunemancy subclass, that did fit. It was a game set in Exandria and did suit my character better. It genuinely did. But I was like, but I'm a blade singer. And it's like, yeah, but I don't like blade singers. So like, I'd rather you swap to this. I was like, yeah, nah, that's it. Bye.
Okay.
And that's when you came to us, unfortunately.
It was a bit before I came to you guys. I'd say about 6 months I'd gone without playing.
So
I
just
found
to
the
change
Discord
this,
link.
just to change the subject a bit there, I want to get over to Richard to talk about your maps and stuff, because you've got some pretty awesome things to show us, right?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. How do
He's
I?
like, I wasn't
how do
ready.
how do we
How'd you
make
do
you
this?
see that?
I think
there we go.
by the magic of there we go. It's already done. The magic
Yeah,
of
so-
Christian.
So I draw a lot of maps. You know, I have a Patreon that I have like a few followers on, and I make a lot of maps, and I use Incarnate. In the olden days, I used to use something that was called Dungini, which was sort of a visual, basically graphical. It works a lot like Incarnate, but it was very intensive. Actually, Christian, if you want to scroll back to where to just show the big one, I'll drag the other ones over when I want people to see them. Just bring the window back to just show Tresendar, the big one. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Oh yeah, because there's a delay. Okay, I was gonna say, why aren't you doing it? There's a delay on Twitch.
Do as you're told.
Damn it, do it. Yeah. Yeah, so I've been using Dungini for a while, and Dungini started off kind of basic, right? Their initial offering, they only had like the sort of the regional map thing, which was kind of like a 3/4 view, and I started using that. In fact, I used it because I was able to make the Humblewood map in the same style, which had little trees and stuff. And so I just started using it. It's like $20 a year. It's really great. It's web-based. You can use it like, when you're at the office and you have a few minutes, you can just bring it up, and it's not a blocked site. And it's really great. And you can make really artistic stuff with it, but it takes a certain amount of time to make something good. And people will sort of like buy an account, and they'll be like, how come I can't make a nice map? Well, it's because you still need to have some kind of artistic talent or skills. And so,
which of course you're not lacking in.
Sure, you could say that. I mean, I've been drawing for a long time, right? So yeah, a lot of it is trial and error. So this is the map that I made. So our characters in Juan's game. I feel like a bit. It's a bit of a bummer that we're talking about Juan's game and he's not here.
Yeah.
To defend himself, But so we're playing. So we started off.
It's our love for the game that why we're talking about it is the reason, right?
Yeah. So we started off playing Lost Mines of Phandelver, which is like a starting point for a lot of campaigns, which in fact I really like. I really like that adventure. And then we followed that up with Dragon of Ice Spire Peak, but he leveled it up because both of those offerings are both beginner. They're both beginner storylines set in the same area, which is kind of weird. That Wizards.
This here is the Ice Spire thing. It's literally.
Oh yeah, it's in the Essentials kit. Yeah. See, I've never even seen it, and I've never seen the other one either. Although I bought it on Roll20 so that I would have all the assets. So one of the things that you get for finishing the adventure is that you get access to this ruined mansion that the bad guys, they were living in the basement of it. And so I made it, and so our characters and the dwarves offer to rebuild it for us, as a reward, and we get to become lords in this town or whatever. Or the adventurers.
We're not lords. I think we're just we're
just adventurers. We're just rich assholes. Rich assholes living on the hill.
We're squatters.
And we're employing half the village as our servants.
We literally are squatters at this stage. Like we just decided it was ours.
Yeah. So I've been working on this for months. Like every time I have like a half hour, I'll just go in there and just add more stuff. And so, Tresendar Manor, ground floor, and this is like the same footprint as the dungeon underneath it. Hang on, I can move this out of the way. And so it's really big, and I sort of made a 3-story mansion that basically fits on top of the dungeon. And and I got some feedback from the players, like Aldwood wants to have a westward-facing room for his temple and things like that. And Crag wants to have a place where he can do some fighting or some training. So that's in the basement.
Yeah, I think
big central room. We filled in the chasm, and it's a big sandy fighting arena, right in the middle. So this is like this represents many hours of work, and then so this morning I thought, what'd be cool if I just tried to do this in a new product called Dungeon Alchemist, which was kickstarted and is available on Steam. I think it's like $20 or $30. And it's sort of a thing that automatically you can use it to just automatically generate dungeons, but not really done. It's not as good at making dungeons, I feel, but it's getting there. It's a product that's sort of in development. But I thought, what if I use it to do Tresendar Manor? So I just kind of like quickly dragged out all the rooms, and you can tell it. This room is a dining room, this room is a hallway, whatever, and it kind of starts to fill it with all the objects that you need. And so in 45 minutes over my lunch hour, I kind of made what you can see here. And plus, it's a 3D construct, so you can like zoom in, scroll around, look at it from different directions. You can change the lighting, and you can also export it as a map, which is really nice. I feel like it's not as artistic a product as Incarnate.
I feel like that'll come though. Like they'll probably add more and more like packs you can add it, you can download and install for like.
Absolutely. And I've also seen people have produced stuff. Like if you go on Steam and look at the product, you'll see all of the art people have uploaded for the dungeons that they've made. Oh my god, all of the maps that they've made, beautiful stuff. And incredibly beautiful stuff.
Is it a program that's going to allow community content as well that you can like download separately?
I think so. I haven't looked into it, but I noticed that people were basically saying, "Oh, follow this link and you can download, the file," because it makes a file. It makes a .dam file, which I guess stores all of the information for the objects that are in the thing. And so, people are like, "Yeah, follow my Patreon to get the DAM files or whatever." And so, yeah, sure. So presumably it's going to have a similar community to Tailspire. Now, people in the chat have also been using Tailspire. Tailspire, in my opinion, is much harder to use. Than and it says in chat that you can use your own artwork for the paintings in
that's sick.
Dungeon Alchemist. That's pretty cool.
Okay, because that means you can stick it because Dungeon Alchemy, that's like one of those things like you can use, especially on stream, as like an extra tool for like showing off things to chat, even like
that's what I find that Tailspire is good for, because you can really get a faraway view of things, and it's got mist and other effects, and you can make truly huge things in Tailspire. It's just Tailspire is really, really, really a lot of work to make stuff. Like it's a real, in my opinion, very hard. Like the interface isn't as easy as some of these other things, but there is a huge community. And again, you can just go online and find I think it's the tavern of something for Tailspire, where people have made, like, they've made everything for Lost Mines of Phandelver, and they've made everything for Dragon of Icespire Peak, all these published D&D adventures. I think all the Ravenloft stuff's in there too, where they've made all these boards which have all the maps, and they're fully interactive. Like, if all the players in your game have the software, they can just be first person view in the dungeon, so
that's the only issue I have with Tailspire, is that it makes D&D feel very video game.
Well, the thing
absolutely,
is, as well,
sure.
The good part about that, though, to look at the other side of it, is with like Dungeon Alchemist and stuff like that, it's not a 3D game, right? Like, it's not a 3D platform. You can't go through it like a 3D thing, whereas Tailspire is.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So you create in 3D in Dungeon Alchemist, but when you transfer it to a VTT, it has to be flat 2D format, right?
That's right.
Whereas Tailspire, you actually get to walk around and move and do all that kinds of stuff.
Which is cool for immersion, but I feel like it's a hell of a lot of work for the DM to like prep things, especially in a homebrew game. Like, you can take stuff from the tavern and repurpose, but
and you know what? Some DMs just don't want to, right? And some games, like 5th edition D&D, requires you to have, unless you're playing Theater of the Mind, you probably want to have some kind of a grid with a map. And I, as a DM, when I'm playing, like, I haven't played in person in 2 years. Like, my gaming group, we haven't met in 2 years. But when we met in person, well, I had minis for every character, and I would basically design adventures around all these monster minis that I found on whatever, on a website, and I ordered all these minis and painted them up, and it's like, here you go, and I work in printing, so I would design the maps and print them out. I would draw and paint them on like hex paper, small, and then scan them in and blow them up. And then when Incarnate came out, I was like, oh my god, this is so much quicker than drawing them by hand. So yeah. So that's the kind of experience I want people to have. But I mean, that by all means is and I'm sure a lot of the players in my games are like, they don't really care, or I'm sure they appreciate that I put a lot of work in, but it's just not what they're there for.
And also, as a point, just because Tom's pointed it out in the chat there as well. And sorry, not Tom, Mark, Arctic Trooper, that everyone, if you use like Tailspire and stuff like that, everyone has to have purchased it, right? So,
well, there are hacks that you can go, whereas the Dungeon Master can have 2 instances of it running, one with the DM's view and one with the player's view. Because in the player's view, they don't get to see. You can hide things, right?
Yeah.
In your map, and also hide things. So, and then you have the player's view, and then the DM would control the player's view and scroll around and move the tokens and stuff.
Not that you should
can
do
have
that,
an
viewers.
Experience. You can't. No, but it's legal. You can't have an experience. Well, and then they just broadcast that screen on their VTT or on their if they're playing in Roll20, or if they're playing in not Roll20 but Discord or
Discord
or using Zoom or whatever. They can just share their screen and show that, and I mean that's a solution if you don't want to have all your players purchasing, because it also requires a pretty powerful computer. With 3D graphics, right? A lot of people that are participating on tablets or on Chromebooks and things like that cannot do Tailspire. Although you could argue they can't do Roll20 either with the lighting and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. But see, I mean,
The Roll20 is quite intensive considering how bare bones it is as well.
Well, see, the other thing you've got to imagine is obviously, COVID screwed up a lot of things. So you had a lot of people that went from pen and paper gaming to having to play on things like Roll20 and stuff like that. They might not have had a setup ready to be able to even deal with that kind of thing. But then you've also got the people, like myself, that have a gaming setup and stuff that way that they could handle that, but you have to be able to allow for everyone, right? So
hey, I'm less than 6 months away from playing in person again with my friends, and I'm going to keep using Roll20 and a screen at my desk. Like behind my DM screen, I'll have my laptop. I was using a laptop before.
Yeah.
Which will have Roll20 on it because all the resources are on there.
Yeah.
You can have all your monsters and everything else,
just easier.
It's just the energy of the room, though, isn't it? Having people around you.
Absolutely.
I've only played in person once. That was
in your life.
After the very first lockdown we had here in Ireland, it ended in I think it was like the end of July, and we had our game.
Yeah, it was just for August.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Right, and so it was like the 10th of August or something, and we played from, I think we started at 7, and we didn't finish until 3:30 the following morning.
Because you're so happy to be playing D&D with your friends.
We were all bollocks. We were so tired. We'd been drinking, we'd been messing around, but the energy of people around you is just phenomenal. Now I'm unlucky in the sense that most of my friends that I play with are way up the country, Wexford, Dublin, Galway. We're all over the shop, so we can't really get together that way. But for anyone that can play physically, I envy you.
Oh yeah, no. I played in the some tabletop society in my college there when I went to college before I dropped out. That's where I started playing, and I'd still be in even when I was at the year after I dropped out.
I'd still be in the area. I kept going back to play D&D.
No, I was in the area. I still had friends, so I'd visit. I was friends with a lot of people I played with, so I'd go back and I'd play the odd time. It was the game didn't happen very often because lockdown, so the last bit of that campaign was done either over VTT or the odd in-game session when lockdown had eased up. But in-game, the first time in I'd say about a year I played in person was Lorcon, and it's a different experience. As much as VTTs are great and you still can get a good vibe, I don't think anything matches the energy of sitting around the table with your it's hard to capture that because you have the more physical aspects of roleplay. You can actually get in and obviously you're not hitting people, but touching people but having a VTT will make it interesting for in-person games because you can dial people in that can come, right?
Yes,
exactly.
Like Nico who plays in my game. She lives 3,000 kilometers away from me. But she plays in a game with my local group. So when my local group gets together, we're going to try to figure out a way to dial her in, using Roll20. I've been thinking of using a big flat screen, as a map. I don't know. I haven't told my wife about that, but
is that one of the ones you build into a table, right? And you project it onto the screen so you can
I would probably just get a cheap monitor and just make a stand for it and just kind of set it up on game night, so that they don't have to have a permanent piece of furniture that has a TV in it. I noticed that Miss Jawbreaker posted she says when you play in person you can take pauses and snacks. You can also have side conversations and you can talk over each other, which is something that that I miss during VTT times is you can't have two people whispering to each other, planning something or just chilling while other people are role playing. You can't have really have to wait your turn to talk and things like that.
You can DM each other on Discord. I know some of us do sometimes. I think I've done it with you a few times. We're like, oh yeah, we'll do this. Yeah, we'll message each other.
Yeah.
But that's usually because me and you cannot we refuse to come up with an actual solid, this is what happened when Greg met it. We're like, oh yeah, hey, I'm going to say this, go along with it.
Yeah.
I like improving everything that happened. I like improving at whatever happened between Luca and Craig in the past. Yeah.
It's eventually going to come back to bite us in the ass, and like, right, like say Magnar and Alden be like, "What the fuck did you do?"
Like, remember in Waterdeep when Craig, when you got pegged by that ogre woman? Boy, that was terrible. Like,
or no, there's like, I think there's one recently that I think John was like, "Oh, you fist fought a noble in Waterdeep, did you?" I was like, "Fuck, what did I say?"
Yeah. Somebody needs to go back and make like a compilation of all the clips of all the shit you got up to while you were in town.
But it wouldn't mind. But it started off as Neverwinter as well. It just randomly shifted to Waterdeep. We just was like, "Yeah, it's Waterdeep now."
Oh, I thought it was Waterdeep the whole time, but okay, I don't remember. I don't even remember
because we in session 1, which isn't actually on YouTube or anything. I think the first 3 sessions are missing, but I think we were all like, "Oh yeah, we're in Neverwinter." And you went, "Oh yeah, Craig's my friend." I'm like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Well, I think I sent you a private message saying, "You want to be my best friend?" Because so whenever I start a new game, I like to have a session, like a session 0, where the characters talk about how they know each other. And in one game, what I did was I set up a game of Fiasco. If you've ever played a game called Fiasco, this is it's like a party game, or it's like a 1-session role-playing game where you play characters that are making bad decisions. And Fiasco, basically, you can really replicate something like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, or Snatch, or
what I think
any film in which characters make really bad decisions and shit just goes south. The Big Lebowski, whatever.
What I think is actually amazing for that is I don't know if you guys know, but it's a card game. It's a card/drinking game called the Red Dragon Inn. I think Ryan's. It's like. It's literally based off D&D. There's like D&D lore in it, and it's you just get a bunch of characters. You have them sat at a tavern. They're playing, like, they're drinking games, they're gambling, and like they have abilities that they can do to fuck each other over. And I wanted to, if possible, like maybe create a few, like 4 of those for my characters in the campaign that I play. And then that way, that's how you introduce me. You're like, first of all, we're going to sit here, we're going to play this, and it's we do this first. And then there we go. That's the dynamic in the group. It's set. Right. You don't trust you for some reason yet, but that can be worked on. You two did this together in the past. You've made up some bullshit backstory together. You can go with that. And like it's a good thing. Like I feel like session 0s and like stuff. It's incredibly, incredibly important to the game sometimes to have that. Like you don't need it, but it can make a lot of difference. Like I know with Dave's game, we did a bit of a session 0 where we set up our characters as we saved this town before the stream game started, and we're on our way to this one. And that makes roleplay a lot easier because like you don't have to be like, I don't know this guy. You just immediately assume familiarity. So you're just like, hey, you, fuck you.
That's actually like a very good point. Is that's something that I know from talking to Juan. That's what he was doing with like the one shots. Is in that it's connected to Lambert and Wolf and stuff like that, in that these are seasoned adventurers in that they've been trained and stuff, but they're going out to, so everyone kind of knows of each other, at least, even if they don't know each other directly, kind of thing. So that if you're there, you're there for a reason, like kind of thing. So running Fiasco, it just has a really good rule set for how characters know each other, like the setup part of that game, because you have to write down on index cards how you know the person to your left or the person to your right, and then if you have a conflict, you have to choose someone you have a conflict with, and stuff like that. So it sets up all this character dynamics, because in my opinion, it doesn't matter what game, what pre-purchase campaign you're playing. It doesn't matter who the big bad is. It's just what matters to me as a DM and as a player is the relationships between the characters, right? And them telling their story, definitely, and having their arc and doing their thing, right? And for me, there's a lot of social justice in the characters that I play. But so I mean, it was the difference, like you said, between Luca and Craig was like, we know each other, but we'll make this shit up as we go along, kind of thing. But like
that makes sense, because like Luca and Craig probably wouldn't be forthcoming with a lot of the shit they did around.
That's right, make up as they went along anyway.
We were bad people. Like, don't ask about it, you won't know. Like if Magnar and Aldwin ever sit Luca and Craig down and they're like, "What did you do?" We'll be like, "No, nothing." But it's also, you don't need to know.
But it's also a good improv crutch, right? Like, for example, if anytime Craig is doing something bad and you feel like for role-playing reasons you don't want to stop, Luca can step up and say, remember, so when we were torturing that guy before, let's not do that again, okay?
Yeah.
You know, and you're like,
But to be
okay.
fair,
Yeah,
the
that's a real Grog and Pike kind of relationship.
Yes.
as well,
that's
right?
that's why I love Craig and Luca's relationship, because
Where
like,
Pike could just look at Grog and he'd have to change his mind, you know? He'd be like,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, where it's like say for example, like Magnar tells Craig not to do something. Craig is gonna do it to spite Magnar, and then immediately be like, "Oh yeah, no, that wasn't a good idea." Whereas if Lucas says that Craig will think about it, at least he'll probably still go ahead and do it, but he'll think about it.
I like that version of Craig with Magnar, that if he says don't do it, you'll do it, and then you'll be like, oh shit, no, he was right.
Or you'll never admit that you'll never admit. Yeah,
You would admit it, no, but you'd be like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. But that's what learning is, right? That's what it is, exactly. But
Like if you today ask Craig, like if next session you ask Craig, I was like, hey, you know that time you rushed in, you know, it wasn't that the wrong thing to do? Craig's like, no, fuck you.
Yeah. Don't kick any more doors. What? Whack. Yeah, of course, absolutely.
There's people in the chat that are loving on your beard, Ryan. So good for you.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. Needs
think one of
redying
my
though.
fav-
It's starting to wash out.
I think one of my favorite moments was when we were like Craig was trying to intimidate every shopkeeper in town because they wouldn't give him better prices. And Magnar was like, "This is gonna end so poorly." He's like, "Craig, we gotta leave." And
Yeah,
Craig was like,
we gotta
"No!"
live here, right? You know,
And then he ended up like, I think he split Barzon's like countertop in half by punching it, like in it, like, "Give me better prices."
I know you went to go for the metallurgist, and she brought in her security and was just like, I don't fucking think so, mate.
To be fair, Craig probably could have taken on the security, but he was like, "Oh, okay."
I'd say you'd have got your head smashed in personally, but
I think the thing is with her, I think she was actively scamming us as well, and I was like, I'd insight check.
she wasn't.
was
No, it wasn't. It was a fact that she wasn't willing to go to your price. You were like, "Oh, I don't want to sell it this cheap," and she was like, "Well, I'm not giving you any more." And you were like,
that
"Damn
happens
it, do
too,
it!"
right? Like that happens to me in my Humblewood game when I'm going to roll every session. The characters have a shopping session. I'll roll randomly, you know, on the Xanathar's price guide, and it comes up ridiculously high, and I'm like, "Sorry, this week the prices are really high." You know, it's just how.
That's why I love that thing. I think John sent it. John uses it for the 81 shots. It's so good.
Yeah, so there's a PDF. I forget what it's called. We should be like listing this in the chat, which is like a price list for 5th edition items, which make more sense based on what the item is rather than just the rarity, which is really cool. And actually, I've looked at it. It's pretty cool. I would recommend you purchase if you're going to use it as a DM. You should probably purchase it. It's other DM's Guild or Drive Through.
Is that the one
it's like
uses?
$2. It's like $2. Yeah, the one Juan uses.
Yeah.
So he told me what it was, and I went out and bought it. And it's like a 32-page document that has all the prices for the common items in D&D. I think there's 3 core books that have items in them, and so the prices are there. And it just makes more sense for some things.
Tom says it's called the Discerning Merchant's Guide.
It's just it takes all that, like, because obviously, like, sometimes you have to roll. You can change prices for like just lore wise. Like, it's not always going to be the same in every town. Like, higher rich economies, it's going to cost more. But
like, pay 5,000 gold pieces for a rare potion. Potions should have a different pricing scheme, you know?
Like I've always thought, like, in some games, like, yes, I've seen some places where healing potions like 150 gold. Like, 2d4 plus 4 is not worth 450 gold healing. Like, it really isn't.
Yeah, that's right.
See, that's why everyone needs an artificer in their party.
But I feel like the prices for things in 5th edition are kind of a knee-jerk reaction to how it was before. Forget 4th edition. I don't even know what 4th edition has. But 3rd edition had extremely granular rules, right? Where characters would. Was it in 3rd edition that wizards would spend experience points to make magic items? Yes, it was in 3rd edition. 3.5. And so they had like very specific pricing, and every item had very specific pricing, and items could have up to 10 levels of bonuses, you know, and things like that, or 5 levels of bonuses, and then, you know, it was extremely granular, and I mean, and it was made for our PGA system where everything was costed out very specifically, and you know, and I think they wanted to go back to make the game simpler. That's why you have advantage disadvantage now.
I think, to be fair, 4E had like a wish list. I think that's what they did. Like, you could put a wish list and your DM would roll, roll on your wish list.
So the problem or the advantage of 4E, depending on how you look at it, is that you had to have the right magic items for your character to be at the right power level to play that game. Fourth edition was very, very, very specific that any monster that you fought, if it was one level too high or too low for the party, it would either get wiped out or kill the party. And so everything had to be you always had to be at the right level and have the right items. Otherwise, you'd be suboptimal or too powerful.
So Borea felt like
you can say that's bad. You can say it's bad or it's good. It depends what kind of game you want. What I liked about fourth edition was that the monsters were scalable on an online tool that you could then easily use in your games, which I thought was just fucking great. You know, like you wanted to throw goblins at the party, but they were a little too low. Click, 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 and then they were high enough to, and they had categories of solo monsters, which had 4 times as many hit points, and they had categories of, this and that. So that was really cool. And then presumably that's what they're going to bring in. They're going to bring that in with like D&D 5.5 or whatever it is that they're doing.
5.5
now. We're going to D&D 6, I think. Is what they said.
Are you sure it's not 5.5? Because
no,
they said it would be super compatible with everything 5e. Like they said, everything 5e will still make sense and work.
Yeah, I mean things like making the monsters more like they were in fourth edition is totally transparent to the players anyway. They're just fighting monsters anyway. Nothing changes there.
Yeah,
it just makes it easier for DMs. So yeah,
I just hope
talking about like powerful things and stuff, and this is actually something else I wanted to. So like just to add a bit of levity to this and have a bit of fun. I was thinking about different spells and stuff, and I was like, what ones are my favorite spells? And I was going to ask you guys the same. Now, I know there's a few spells like put up this one. So you've got obviously heat metal, silvery barbs. They seem to be the two that most people talk about at the moment because heat metal is incredible if you get it on the right way. Silvery barbs is just broken, but sometimes for the best ways.
So heat metal is a concentration spell, which automatically makes it fine because if the DM hates it that you're casting heat metal on his big bad guy, or if a player hates it that you're casting heat metal on his armored paladin, well then the easy solution's pretty easy. Just start punching the guy who cast it.
Exactly.
You won't be hot for long. Let me tell you that, because fights never last more than a few rounds in D&D. Usually 5th edition, like they last 4 or 5 rounds. How many dice of damage are you going to take from heat metal before you fucking murder the guy who cast it on you?
I feel like heat metal is better for because I know for a fact I've used it with my artificer in the home game where I've done like heat metal on the paladin, not obviously the Death Knight or whatever, and then I've just gone and ran across to the other side of the room and like got invisible or something. So that he's just like, where the fuck are they? And he's just constantly taking damage and can't do shit.
Wouldn't going invisible then drop the heat metal though? Because you're both concentration.
Not when you have a nice DM and you have a boon. Anyway,
there you go.
And
silvery barbs. So you know what silvery barbs? It's not.
Fuck off, Richard.
That's the thing is, every spell has its uses, but like more so like them two were just the particular ones because I know they're the ones that most people talk about, but not overpowered spells. But what would you say is your favorite spells? I love them cards so
Spiny
much.
Shield. Spiny Shield is awesome. Nico uses it all the time in my Humblewood game.
I just love them cards.
When you upcast this is brutal. This is a reaction spell that works kind of like Shield. So Spiny Shield is from Humblewood, and it gives you porcupine quills. So as a reaction, when you get hit, I think it's when you take damage from a melee attack, you can cast Spiny Shield, and then you roll like a d4, and it reduces the damage by that much, and then causes that damage back to your attacker by that much, which isn't so bad. It's a first level spell.
Yeah,
but if you upcast it, like Nico's casting it as a 5th level spell, she's doing 5d4 less damage and 5d4 back to the guy attacking her.
Nice.
It's really great if you're running through a crowd of bad guys or a guy with multi-attack. Anyway, it's just it's fine. It's okay. And people are like, this spell is gross. It's fine. Whatever.
So would you say it was one of your favorites, or have you got something else that you particularly like spell-wise?
What does Luca like to cast?
Mage Hand.
I mean, the
Mage Hand is one of the best though.
The Thieves version of Mage Hand is just ridiculous because you could pick locks and pick pockets at a range of 30 feet with no penalty. That's broken. The hand is invisible, man. You could like grab people's asses. You could do anything you want. It's terrible.
Not that we condone that.
We don't.
You could knock
As
the
Henry
hat off the
Crabgrass
Pope.
would say, consent, please.
imagine Luca goes to the Vatican and knocks the hat off the Pope.
Oh, that would be
like
brilliant.
like just or like whatever. Yeah, so it's a real troublemaker spell. It's really great. No, I think Shield is a great spell. I love it. I love the visuals of just Professor or Jean Greying the boom, stopping attacks from coming in. I think Shield is a fun reaction. And it works a lot like the Silvery. It's kind of like one of those spells like Silvery Barbs, right? Like you could argue that Shield is too good. 100% protection against magic missiles, +5 AC. If you've already got a decent AC, that's really good. The only thing it doesn't protect you against is nat 20s, which is I feel is a flaw of D&D. That anything you do to protect yourself in a game, like getting lots of cover or giving disadvantage. Well, disadvantage pretty much removes the chance of getting hit by a nat 20.
Not necessarily, but yeah, very often.
I suppose the idea of a nat 20 in battle that way, though, is that you're going beyond usual combat, right? So that's the moment where you just Hulk out essentially and just bust through it. So even if you've got a shield up, which would usually cover you, it's enough that it might not bust through the shield to hit you, but you might collapse backwards and hurt yourself, kind of way. Do you know? That's how headcanon I imagine it anyway. And
there's enough classes and abilities that negate nat 20s anyway, because that's what Silvery Barbs does, right? That's the one that negates nat 20s.
It makes you reroll. It doesn't have to be nat 20 though.
Yeah. And then the Grave Cleric can do it as well, right?
So if your party wants to negate nat 20s, there are ways they can do it, and it's not that it is not Silvery Barbs. So that's fine. You can buy an uncommon set of magic armor that will protect you absolutely against nat 20s. Adamantium armor. So, the only thing in my games is that it can never be enchanted. Adamantine armor can never be enchanted, and it is just as is.
As it is. That's fair enough.
So the guy that killed Sir Arthur in my game, he had adamantine armor on. Nobody ever critted him. I was so hoping somebody would crit him, and I'd be like, oh, sorry, his gorget deflects your shot or something like that. Or it's just a normal hit.
No, you don't even say that. You're like, not 20, nice. He doesn't seem too bothered.
I think spell wise, I think two of my favorites for sure. One I haven't got to use yet, and one I've used a lot of. One is Fairy Fire. Such a great utility spell. It just it is. But if it hits, it's fucking magic.
Glitter is the herpes of the crafting world.
Exactly. You just glitter bombed someone, like, well done, sir. Now everyone gets to attack it at advantage. That's just amazing. And then the other one,
that's a Tom special, to be fair.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. The other one I haven't got to use yet as well, but I'm looking forward to is R. Shadowland's Stride, I think it's called. And it's the one where basically it's like haste, but you don't get the extra action. Instead, when you run past people, you set them on fire, or you do fire damage to them. So essentially, you're the Flash running around just making a scorch pattern on the floor, and anyone you run past, you set fire to.
You're like a Lothario with herpes. Everybody you have sex with, their pubes get caught on fire. Yeah.
Flame for you, flame for you, flame for you.
And drippy dick. Yeah.
Yeah. Trip to the clinic.
I play a wizard, so I do have a few favorite spells like that I've researched. Like, obviously, look, it's the stereotype fireball.
Fireball is just
fireball is just. It's like, it's not the best spell. It's not the best even damage dealing spell. Like, I think Melf's Minute Meteors, you're actually dealing more damage over time than Fireball does.
It's not satisfying. Melf's is not satisfying.
It's not as fun.
And it eats into your bonus action economy also.
But wizards have fuck all bonus actions anyway.
It's true, yeah.
I would argue that Melf's are much satisfying, but there we go.
Yeah.
If you're fair, I respect your opinion, but there's something about, like, when you hit the fireball and you hear fuck from the DM when they fail their save, and you're just like, yeah, bitch.
Especially when it's a big one, it's like 50 damage. What the hell,
I have had the pleasure of having a magic. The game I played earlier, I played Revan. I ended up as a Dunamancy wizard against Mike, which is kind of, I was told I could, and I was kind of basically coaxed into it, but it kind of put a damper on the character. He was a blade singer at the time, and we were under a lich's tower, and like basically, liches have to murder a fuck ton of people to become a lich.
Oh yes,
that's an actual measurement, but yeah.
It's a one.
I feel like the unofficial rules for becoming a lich, because they're for reasons. I'm looking up rules for becoming a Lich, and there are no specific 5th edition rules, but there's lots of rules. People have said, I use this, I use this. They usually have to do, it's kind of like the Sith thing. They have to kill 1 or 2 people that are important to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But I think there's some other versions are like you have to sacrifice a fuck ton of people to like power your phylactery or something like that. But basically, we were in this Lich's tower, and there was like literal pits of zombies because he, after he'd done it, like a spell went wrong, and they just revived them. And we were in it, and I cast the DM. I cast Fireball, and the DM was like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" And I'm like, "Why?" I was like, "You're in a pit, like." No,
it's a huge area of effect. If you cast it indoors, you're going to set fire to the whole place.
No, it's not even that.
Blow yourself up.
The pit was like 1,000, like it was huge. Like this, we're talking about massive like cavern under this tower. Like it's ridiculous scale. I was flying at the time, and I was like, there was like zombies, a horde of zombies running around, like starting to move. Like the entire thing was like a giant shambling mound of flesh because like the entire pit was moving, like because the zombies piling up on each other trying to grab us. And it's like World War Z, like the scene where they're going up the walls. It's that. Yeah. Think that. But basically, I was like, I'm gonna fireball down there just to knock a few of the ones that are getting high up. Maybe like use the blast to knock them. I was like, are you sure you want to cast a fire spell in a cave full of rotting corpses? And I was like, well, I'm pretty high up.
Yeah, same thing with grain silos. Don't light a fire in a grain silo.
Yeah. I was like, no, like to be fair, he didn't do the gas rises thing, thankfully. But he was like, "You sure?" He was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Right." I think because he was like, "Right, how many dice does a 9th level fireball do?" And I was like, "Oh fuck!" I was like, "I'm like level 14 at the time." I'm like, "Jesus!" And I was like, "Yeah, roll that and then double the damage." And I was like, "Oh." And that's still to this day one of my favorite D&D moments because I like nuked the cavern basically, and like he was like, "No, I didn't think any of you would figure that out. The amount of gas and like rotten flesh in here that's built up, you incinerated it." And I was like, "Nice."
Every necromancer's just shaking their head like, such a waste.
So it was an army. Like he said to us afterwards, he was like, if you had fallen, like if you had got knocked off the flight, you would have been dead. I wouldn't have let you made death saves. You would have died, and your character's body is gone. Like you shouldn't have went in there.
As Arctic Trooper said, if your body's just ash, there's nothing to bring back.
Exactly.
So Linda in chat said, did Richard say I get to kill someone? Why would you get to kill someone? You're not becoming a Lich, are you? I hope not.
And use Fireball
never let Card play as Fireball. Never has a good ending. I've never cast Fireball on stream.
Well, he casts Cone of Cold a lot. That one's hit us a few times.
You don't need to cast Fireball.
Ren has cast Fireball accidentally about twice now. Once by firebolting a mushroom that exploded in a 20-foot thing, and it apparently took out. I think Dave, correct me on this. Didn't it take something out that was hiding in that cave? And then obviously when I threw the rock in the forge, that kind of blew up and did a fireball.
Listen, it's the same principle of blowing people up in D&D as it is when you go to the bathroom. 1 shake is good. 2, you're starting to play over yourself. Like you can do it once, get away with it. Do it more than once, yeah, you're trying to do that.
No, I was not trying to detonate that rock. I was literally like, oh well, fucking Mordor it, melt it. It's not, I can't smash it with a hammer. I was thinking it was like the Gimli scene.
So, Mr. Jawbreaker, I thought you meant Nightshade could help someone become a Lich.
So liches don't need any help from anyone to become liches, but you could help someone become a lich for sure. I'm sure by dying.
Yeah, one of the victims.
By being one of the victims. Yeah.
One of us.
Azure comes back as a lich. It's a fucking like skeleton crow.
So, I think that's kind of a natural conclusion. Unless either of you have got any last things you'd like to say about your characters.
I mean,
no,
not really.
So I don't know if people in the chat have been watching our games, but but I'm playing Luca. Luca's becoming more and more detached as time goes by, like more and more focused on the magic and distracted by the magic and that sort of thing. So I'm kind of playing that out a little bit.
It's going to be
as they gain magical power, their eyes start to turn silver and they're becoming more and more different, otherworldly.
I actually noticed that. I was assuming that has something to do with the the Sabras stuff.
Yeah, I'm interested
It
to
could
see.
be.
I'm interested to see if Juan wants us to do the Sabras story next, which is like the astral plane.
I
I
doubt
feel
it
like we're not
without
high enough
Elliot.
level to go on the astral. We're not high enough level to go on the astral plane.
Well, I
And
mean,
fight
like,
get Yankees and have like Spelljammer ships and shit like that. But
I don't think we're ready for it with only 4 people. Like, you know.
but there's nothing else. There's no other foreshadowing, I think, in his game.
No, there's the Evan Maw.
Yeah,
You're right. Yeah.
Evan
There's,
Death.
it's true. It's true.
Evan Death, sorry.
It'd be interesting if he was going to be running us sort of in the Tyranny of Dragons. Is that the Tiamat one storyline or borrowing from that?
Yeah, I
That
think
could be
so.
fun. Like I haven't read any of them, but
So-
I'm sort of interested to know.
Just
Oh,
in the
someone
chat there,
chat, yeah.
Freya says, "I've never played D&D. I only found Penny Dragon games when the Violent Madness began. Thank you for coming to watch that, by the way. And videos like tonight is making me want to start playing myself somehow. It's great learning all of this from you, going through such a short time in my life, but these evenings always make me smile. Thank you so much for your
Okay.
time."
Well, I'm really
Thank
hoping
you.
that our discussion sort of also highlights that there are many different kinds of players. You know,
Oh, yeah.
like Crag, Crag really likes to tinker and make these, the characters using. Whereas I like to make characters that are just weird and different and not optimal. Like I swear to you guys, Luca will only ever take utility spells forever. You know,
no, but like, unironically, like me and Joe, who plays Robert in the Software Saga game, we have sat maybe I'd say like hours upon end after games, being like, okay, what about this combo? Like, how would this work out and play out? And we're like trying to
Yeah, so
like I'm a power gamer. I'll be honest, I am a power gamer to a degree, but I'll never take
to
the
a degree.
I'll never take the piss to ruin a game for other
See,
people.
my point of view is that I want my character to be useful in a fight because D&D has a lot of fighting in it, and so I figure once my character can hold their own in a fight, I can focus on other things. That's why Luca's able to shoot people and do damage, and so I can also do other things as we go forward. I will take more levels of thief. I will take more levels of rogue though, if only because I want to
get evasion.
because I want to get to the feat. Like unfortunately, 5th edition doesn't allow you to multi-class and spread your feats. Like you have to hit certain levels in each class to get your feats. And feats are big for Luca because Luca needs more skills. So I'm going to be using all my feats to get skills. So yeah.
I personally don't believe in that whole feat, like only at level up thing. I'm 100% as a DM, I will reward feats for like if you've done like say, for example, Aldwin's been taking over as the survivalist of our group, even though Crag was originally better than him, like leading us places. That was me. I would give him a feat that would about that. Yeah, I would eventually swing around.
I mean,
you get it. You
have DMs like Roper, like I said, my home game DM. He awarded me with that boon that I spoke about there before because of stuff I did outside of the game to help the game. He's given boons to other players for doing the exact same thing, for helping him with different things like that. That's one of the biggest wonderful things about the D&D community. It's like I say the good ones, most people are, right? But you'll get that occasional one that should be playing on their own. Anyway. But and
you can just say my name, Ryan. It's okay.
Yeah, this is why I am so glad we have people like Freya coming into our chat, coming to talk to us, come in and see and what we're doing and how we're building things. We're building narratives, we're building friendships, we're building a community, and I'm so glad now that you're part of that. And I can't wait to see the day where you join one of the games. If you're in our Discord and stuff as well, come and join one of the games. I can't wait to see that day when you come in and play and you feel how good this feels.
And another thing I can tell you is that so people will tell you that the 4th edition D&D, the previous edition, was terrible and it was awful and it was too much like a video game. The 4th edition Dungeon Master's Guide is an amazing tool for people who want to be Dungeon Masters and also players, because it has a big section on the kinds of people who play D&D. Because being a DM is kind of like being a manager at work. You have to manage each person that's working for you based on how they are, right? And it's the same thing for D&D as a DM. You have to figure out what your players want and give that to each player. And it's going to be, some players are not going to want the same thing as other players. Some people just want to fight, so you got to make sure there's a fight every session. Some people want to role play. Got to make sure there's a role play. And the only thing that I ask of the players is that they put up with, or that they're patient while the other players are doing things that they enjoy. Like I hate solving puzzles. I fucking hate it. I don't want to solve puzzles. In my gaming group, 2 of the guys are engineers, and one of them is I think 3 is a computer technician. And anyway, they love fucking solving puzzles. And in one of the games we played, it was this long ASCII puzzle, which you had to solve like codes using ASCII code. And so I was perfectly happy to let them do it while I,
That's the thing about in-person gaming, though. Like, you could let them do that. You could be just sitting there next to the other, like, in-character dumbass in the group.
Well, I think I was just drawing, but yeah. So, and I'm perfectly happy to let other people solve that puzzle while I'm doing something different, because I just hate Sudoku,
But see, that's the thing as well, is like you'll find yourself, like, I know I can only talk from my personal experience. Like, I find myself going back to Artificer so often because I do enjoy that. I like the solving the puzzles or working stuff out or being able to tinker with this, or like I've got books and pages of drawings for different devices and stuff that my Artificer might create one day. Like, but then someone might like being, the sneaky one that goes in and starts robbing people and but like well, murder hobos like Miss Jawbreaker.
For me, to a degree. I actually, to be fair, the combat is actually not. I wouldn't say it's my least favorite part of D&D, but I would much rather like RP. Like, and just like I love the back and forth between characters. I think that is my favorite part of the game.
I'm 80% narrative, 20% fight.
Yeah. But speaking of Miss Jawbreaker, I noticed even in my game when we first started, Miss Jawbreaker was very murder, but there was also a really cool crutch that we used in the game. Is with anybody ever offers her like 20 gold pieces to not murder, she'll do it. So
well, listen,
it's up to like 50 or 100 now. Yeah.
It's getting her a house for her babies, so it's obviously working out for her.
And also for those in chat, I'm a novice DM. Like, I've played DM'd a few one-shots. I'm looking at running something that I've homebrewed soon. So if anyone in chat is in the Discord and they might be interested in playing, when I have that set up and ready to go, you're more than welcome. Just my username is just Carrick. Just at me in LFG or just DM me privately, and I'll be able to talk you through it. Like, making a character and stuff if you're new to D&D, because making characters is what I spend a lot of time doing.
Absolutely. We're here to build.
Jack Burton said, I thought Richard was going to swear. What was I going to swear about?
Richard does swear, though. Like, that's the thing. Like, people are like, oh, Richard doesn't. Yes, he fucking does. Have you not seen Humblewood?
No.
Humblewood is like the most dirty-minded, foul-mouthed campaign.
No, it's always a reaction to stuff that I say, like...
With Richard, it's just handy that the mute button's there, so it'd be like, are you... Yeah, and you go over there. So,
yeah.
But listen, I'm glad we have this community. This has been phenomenal for me, I know, and for so other people. There you go. See, he does.
But Richard, you just can't say the CUNT.
Jack Burton,
can't say
Freya, you're all very welcome, and look out for the games. We'd love to see you in them. Any questions? There's so many of us there. The advice and opinions channel. Ask anything you need to know. There's always someone there to answer. Tom does a phenomenal job giving out a lot of advice. He's a very, very knowledgeable person.
Tom knows if you have a question. Tom knows
spells and stuff. Yeah, generally. Or if he doesn't know it, he knows where to find it. Yeah.
Same with John. John's really good for it as well, especially when it comes to like Roll20. Like, if you have any Roll20 questions, John will normally be able to. Oh yeah, you just do this.
And if you want art, go to Richard's Patreon. Go to Quadruple Bacon's Patreon. She's
Liam as well. I don't think he watches the streams, but he's in the chat. He's fucking amazing.
Liam does the art actually, or some of the art for the Penny Dragon stuff, I believe. Like, we have some incredible artists as well. You can get some fine pieces of work done, especially if it's a character that you're looking to build and to carry on with through streams and stuff. So absolutely. And if you guys are happy to leave it there, we can let everyone get on with their evening. And I just want to, from me personally, say a massive thank you for everyone for tuning in. It's brilliant that you're all here. We're glad you're here. Look after each other. Make sure you help each other. And we'll see you soon then, I guess. Guys, you want to say goodbye?
Yeah. Next time something big happens on the channel, like Ryan will probably come back and do this, you were saying earlier. Another one, maybe different people. We might get different people from the different streams on to talk about different moments in future. Like, not like a talk smock kind of thing, but like similar enough. Like, discuss shit going on in the community. stuff. You know, it's a good platform to have. You know, we have 13 people in chat, which look, compared to some streams, that's not a lot, but like it's still like 13 people taking their time to watch.
That's
us.
good. That's
13
more
people
than I get
for us
mine
to
to.
shit talk.
Regardless of
2
who
hours.
watches, though, we're playing to because we're friends, because we want to play. We all want this journey. So come and have this journey with us, is what we're saying.
Hopefully next Tuesday we'll be back on track and killing dragons. No promises though. Scheduling is.
We're
killed the dragon.
killing a bunch of assholes next time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What a bunch of a-holes.
I get the feeling that Juan thinks they're going to be really tough. I think Juan's kind of like smirking because I think he set them up to be pretty tough.
Yeah.
He's done that a few times where he thinks and then we fuck them up.
I think Luca's the gloves are gonna come off and Luca is gonna fucking murder them. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, no.
You had the easy fight with the dragon. Now
I'm
comes
gonna be
the
like
bandits.
the feral child. I'm gonna be like the feral child in Mad
said I
Max.
have my action held to either swing my sword, or if it's the person that came up the stairs, like Crag had already kicked down the stairs is first. Crag's kicking them down the stairs again. He's like, no.
And Richard, if you'd like to say goodbye as well.
Oh, goodbye.
Bye, bitch.
Death is coming. Death is coming. I'm a bunny owner, so I know all about death.
All right, Jack. Thanks for the sub.
Thank you for the subs. Absolutely, it all helps. And guys, again, don't forget Thursday. Vibrance is back with Mark DM. Phenomenal crew, great players. Kobu, love you.
I don't know what Kobu is, but he's great.
He's a tree. Anyway,
There's something.
Yeah. Friday, we got Dave's back as DM's position for the Software and Saga. You'll see Carrick there. He's going to be murdering something probably because he's always murdering something.
Ren is a
renegade, is what it is.
Renegade. Yeah, he's also a catastrophic fuck up lately, and Dave has said he wants to discuss things with me beforehand. Yeah. So if Ren dies next Friday,
watch how Ren gets punished.
My backup character is much more interesting, actually. So, like,
that's Carrick is always like, "Kill me, I dare you! I got better characters coming."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, I dare John to kill me because I have 2. I have my Battlemaster Fighter and I have a Blood Hunter that he said he's okay with me playing.
Right.
And it's like,
don't tell us too much just in case, because Craig might die very soon again.
Yeah.
And then again, Comeback Sunday. I'm selfishly plugged in it. Violet Madness. I'm in it. I love that game. It's so fun.
It's one of my favorites to watch.
It's so fun to play such a naughty side of me.
Mark, if you ever need a guest player, let me know. I really like your world.
So there we go. Guys, again, thank you very much for coming. You're all welcome, and look after each other.
Yeah, talk it up in the chat or in the Discord, whatever it's called.